Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Stephen Peters. I'm the president of the American Military Partner Association, and I'm so glad you've joined us today for our webinar on getting your degree as a MilSpouse student. We're going to go ahead and get started right away. We are lucky enough to have with us today Allison Hanson, and we'll just go ahead and jump right in. Allison, are you there?
I am. Hi, everybody. I am going to move to the next slide automatically. I'm going to talk about navigating your education benefits. If I go too slow, I apologize. We can always ask questions at the end, and if I don't know the answer, I will definitely get them and get back to you. So I'm just moving along. My name is Allison. I work for Thomas Edison State College. I work in the Office of Military and Veteran Education. And Bianca, sorry, I have a hardest time saying her name. Stephen, maybe you can help me with that one.
I think
Yeah.
everybody does. Bianca Strakowski.
There we go. Bianca started the Military Spouse Education Initiative a few years ago, and I have been helping her along the way, but basically navigate some issues. So that's why we typically present these together, but she couldn't make it. So I'm going to, as I told Stephen, wing her parts, and I will, of course, take questions. Okay, so the first part, we're going to go over where to begin, and then we're going to talk about service members, opportunity colleges, understanding accreditation, CLEPs and Dantes and prior learning assessment, financial aid, some military spouse education benefits, childcare assistance, post 9/11 GI Bill transferability, and then some question and answers. All right, so this is where Bianca usually steps in, but we are going to go over some of the resources and information that should make it easier for you to find out where you want to start, what you want to do, and what the best school would be to fit your needs. I put these in circles, and the reason why, it's not really a you can go in many orders to do all of these steps and where to begin. But in some order, you need to find out what you want to study, what your goal. And there's lots of resources out there. Just even the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, you can go on their website and you can find out what degrees are required for some professions, what certifications, salaries, all sorts of information, and that's again at the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. Next question to ask yourself: are you interested in attending online or brick and mortar? You can do a combination of both. You can kind of combine both of those, so that's not it's kind of a gray question, to be honest. You want to review the service member opportunity college schools, and we'll go over that in just a few minutes. You want to look at their accreditation, and again, we'll go over that as well. Prior learning, we'll talk about that in a few minutes. Filling out your FAFSA, which is your federal financial aid form. And then you'll also want to meet with an academic advisor so you can make a plan. And that's probably, of all of these, that's going to be your last step, most likely. So first are the service members opportunity colleges. And lots of people think that these are just for service members, but they're not. These are colleges. There's approximately 1,900, and they are fully accredited, and they have agreed to offer some sort of benefits to military-affiliated families. They have flexible policies so that people can move, really. They have transfer policies that work to benefit military families. They accept credit for nationally recognized tests, such as CLEPs. and they just really are, they're military friendly, and I know that term gets thrown around a lot, but these the 1900 partner schools are really they've passed the test, so to speak, and they've been accepted into this consortium. Within that 1900 schools, there's actually a smaller number, and it's called the degree network system, and it's very kind of nitpicky, so I did not include these schools in this group, but that small group also accept each other's credits really without any issue. They're given certain codes, and I'd be happy to discuss the degree network system excuse me, with anyone who wants more information, but I encourage everyone to go to that website at the bottom. I believe these slides will be available, and just review over the service member opportunity colleges. Next, we're going to talk about accreditation. And this is really one of the most important items that you should research when choosing a school. There's typically two different kinds of accreditation. There's nationally accredited and regionally accredited. If everyone can answer questions, I will ask, which do you think is the most recognized? And it's kind of counterintuitive. It's actually the regionally accredited schools that are the most accepted in terms of transfer credit. If you don't attend a school with the proper accreditation, you do risk the chance of not being granted transfer credit should you choose to transfer. Regionally accreditation, they're typically associated with academics. Nationally accreditation is more career fields, so typically those would be the certificate programs or vocational type programs. And again, the nationally accredited courses, typically, there is no hard fast rule, but typically they won't be accepted by regionally accredited colleges or universities. There are some ways to search. The Department of Education lists the accreditation, as does the short name is CHIA, Council of Higher Education Accreditation. You can also go to your college or university's website, and it typically will let you know. I usually search, most colleges have the search engine on their website, and I just put in accreditation, and it usually is pretty easy to find. Now we're going to talk about CLEPs and DSST. These are subject matter exams. They are typically worth 3 credits. There are some that are worth more, and they're a great way to save money, time, and we mentioned those with the service member opportunity colleges. Those schools have agreed to accept CLEP or DSST exams. They are free for active duty, reserves, and National Guard. Free for spouses of some groups, so you, Air Force Reserve, Air National Guard, Army National Guard, Army Reserve. And then I can't see all of my screen. Then there's one last group. I apologize. Okay, and Coast Guard. And then we also, oh, I'm sorry. You can also find study exams. I do not recommend going into these exams without any preparation. You can typically find books at the library on base or post. You can also find them at public libraries. You can find practice exams online. You can go to that collegeboard.org and getcollegecredit.com, and you can find study guides for those. You can also find practice tests, so I'd recommend just taking a look before going in to take the exam. Okay, another option are exams offered by colleges. This is just happens to be the college I work for. They do offer exams similar to CLEPs and DSST, but they're worth residency credit. So when you're looking at colleges and universities, typically they require a certain amount of credit to be completed at that college. these exams help meet those residency requirements. They can also be transferred into other colleges, but it's just another option. Now this is a new issue, I guess, and they're the MOOC courses, and that stands for Massive Online Open Courses, or I'm sorry, Massive Open Online Courses. And they're offered by schools such as Duke and Stanford, and MIT is a huge participant. They're free to take online. They're kind of like YouTube courses where you can sit in on lectures. There are some online courses that you can now take exams for, which allow you to receive credit. So we are developing some of those courses at the college that I work for, but that's happening all over. It's kind of the direction, the response to those massive online open courses. Another school that offers credit by exam is Excelsior College. It's a public school out of New York State, and that's the links. You can look over those as well. Prior learning assessment is another way to earn credit without actually taking the courses. You may have experience from either work experience, volunteer experience, some certifications, but there may be a way to earn credit prior to even starting your college career. And as I just mentioned, the credit through employment experience, the most common is obviously through military experience, through the JST, the Joint Services Transcript, or for Air Force, it's the Community College of the Air Force Transcript. Those are by far the most common, but there may be some other work experiences that would allow you to earn credit. Federal financial aid. So in-state tuition is a huge way to save money. Different states have different rules. So let's see. This is where Bianca is the expert, so I apologize if I stumble here. The bottom line is to make sure you ask. That's always the number one thing you need to do when talking to a financial aid office, is ask whether you qualify for in-state tuition. It's crazy that sometimes you do have to ask, but you need to ask and to find out what the rules are. Another thing you need to do is file your FAFSA, your federal financial aid form. You need to do that in order to be eligible for the Pell Grant, which is a federal grant which you don't have to pay back. I recommend everyone applying for it. You also need that FAFSA to fill out student loans, and then most scholarships also require that. And there's the link for it, for you to look it over. That needs to be done every July. So the education year usually starts in July. Here's some other organizations that offer scholarships. The Council of College and Military Educators, CCME, they offer annual scholarships. The ACMEs, which are the state organizations for military education, they typically offer a few scholarships per year. There's the Pat Tillman Foundation, the National Military Family Association, Veterans United, Hope for the Warriors, Blue Star Families. And then I actually added a few here, which are search engines to help you find scholarships. That first, the Scholarship and Financial Aid Explorer, that's one of my favorites because you don't have to put any information in. It doesn't ask you to join any sites. You just search. Military OneSource and military.com. For both of those, you do need to log in. So, that's just something to be aware of. And then I was able to find an article through U.S. News that listed 5 of the top scholarship search engines. Now, those are not military related, but there's great links to some other search engines. Now we move on to the military spouse education benefits. The most popular is the MyCAA account, the Career Advancement account. That provides $4,000 in tuition assistance To eligible spouses of Army, Air Force, Navy, and Marine Corps, unfortunately the Coast Guard's left out, must be ranks E1 through E5, W1, W2, and O1, O2. And that's only for associate's degrees, licensure, and certification. I just want to note that typically it's by semester. However, for licenses and certifications, you can get that $4,000 all at once if the certification, depending on the cost. The link is right there. You can find additional information. And the most important thing to remember is why it was created. It's really a recruiting tool, and it's to provide education for portable careers. There is lots of, I guess, bad press on MyCA. It's a great program. It is limited, but again, it's a recruiting tool, so it's important to keep that in mind. Also, at almost every base, there's spouse clubs for both enlisted and officers. They typically have scholarship programs, so we encourage you to look up the local spouse clubs in your area. The Military Spouse Education Initiative website has some scholarships listed, so there's a link right there. And then each branch also has some branch-specific application for scholarships, so we've listed those as well. And again, I believe these slides will be available, so you can just click on the links and do some research. And here's another, this is a kind of a random one that I added, but some institutions also offer military spouse discounts. You'll be surprised. Typically, the discount is equal to that of the military member. So $250 per credit is typically, that's kind of the I want to say going rate for active duty, because that is the max of the tuition assistance. There's definitely schools that the tuition is less than that, but that is the most that you'll find for schools that military use for tuition assistance. And again, they will also oftentimes, not always, offer that to military spouses as well. Now to my favorite part, the post 9/11 GI Bill transferability. The GI Bill came about in 2009, and it's probably the most common veterans program utilized by spouses and dependents, mostly because it's one of the only education programs that can be used by spouses and dependents. There's definitely some confusion with the post 9/11 GI Bill, especially when it comes to transferability. I've put the link. There's a lot of information about transfer of education benefits right there on the site, but I did break it down a little bit. In order to be eligible to transfer benefits, the service member must be eligible for the post 9/11 GI Bill. So they would need to be active duty after 2009, and they must have at least 6 years of service on the date they elect to transfer the benefits. There is, this is the fine print. On the day, even if the service member has 6 years, on that day that they sign the transfer, they need to also basically re-enlist for another 4 years. I know there's always been some confusion. People wait to transfer their benefits, and then they find out that they're not eligible because they don't have 4 years to stay or re-enlist for. So it's important to keep that in mind. I added some fine print. These are just some not so random facts, but the post 9/11 GI Bill will pay up to the highest in-state tuition rate for that state. It's important to look at the cap for the state that you live in or that you'll be going to school at. However, a lot of schools do participate in the Yellow Ribbon program, and that program was established to help pay that difference. The VA and the school split the difference so that it does not come out of the service member or veteran or family member's pockets. The spouses can use benefits immediately and have 15 years from the service member's release from active duty. Children, now they are not able to use the benefits until the service member has completed at least 10 years, but they have until the age of 26. There is no time limit, it's by age. Spouses of active duty service members are not eligible for BAH. Those spouses are eligible for the books and supply stipend, which is prorated by the number of credits that students enroll, and $1,000 is the max per year. The GI Bill can be divided between dependents. The GI Bill is 36 months, and that 36 months can be divided. After the date of separation from active duty, no additional dependents can be added. So it's very important to have this all sorted out prior to leaving the military. Childcare Assistance, this is just some links to provide. NACRA, it works with, let's say, this is one of Bianca's slides, I apologize. The NACRA website is great. It lists childcare providers. If you are not near a base, they can assist with some funds. So I'd encourage you to look at that website. Sitter City, free membership for military families. I have used this. It's a great resource. And that some schools also offer grants to assist with childcare costs. Some other great resources. Military OneSource is really a resource for everything. That site really has anything you could possibly want to look up, but they have some great education resources. Tutor.com, they offer free tutoring services to spouses of Army Reserve, Army Guard, Coast Guard, and Navy. Dependent children from all the branches are eligible, so I'd encourage everyone to go and check out the details. They change frequently, but it really depends on funding. Installation education centers are also a great resource, and there's a lot of great talented individuals working in those centers that are just a wealth of knowledge. Now, in summary, we went over how to get started, kind of figure out what direction to go in, why you should consider a SOC school, understanding accreditation, using CLEP in prior learning assessments for credit going in prior to enrollment, really, financial aid, benefits specifically for military spouses, the post 9/11 GI Bill transferability, and then some childcare assistance and other resources. And then, Stephen, I don't know how to open
Sure.
up the questions.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Allison. So if anybody has any questions, you can type it in the question chat box, or you can raise your hand with the little hand icon. So I'll give everybody a second there in case anybody has questions to type those in or raise your hand. As Allison mentioned, the slides will be available afterwards on our website, on our resources page, which is militarypartners.org/resources. And I'll also post in the private group as well when those are available. So if anybody has any questions, you can go ahead and chat or type them in, and we'll get those answered for you. Let me give folks a couple seconds here to type if they do have questions. I think we are good. Doesn't look like we have any questions. Well, Allison, thank you so much again. We really appreciate you joining us today.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity to share the information. And again, if anyone has questions, please, we did have info@milspouseeducation.org. Both Bianca and I can check those questions, and we would be happy to do research, whatever you need. We will find the information for you. So please do not hesitate to contact us.
Great. All right. Well, thank you so much, Allison. Everyone
Thank
have a
you.
great evening.
Thank you.